only think about the game. So Billy fell in love with a civilian, or at least you know he fell in love with her. He could see how bright her light was shining. He could feel how wild her fire burned. Love has its own kind of symmetries. You have to give as much as you receive. Once he realized he would never give her nothing, he decided it was time for him to leave. And now he likes to criticize her privately. Well, she simply says that neither would blame. The losers only think about the winners. Winners only think about the game. So Billy kept on adding to the set list and working on her studio 10. And for the first time found it hard telling the difference between all her friends and all her fans, which left her with a special brand of emptiness that she channeled right back into the songs. She wasn't gonna ask herself the question if this is what she wanted all along. Some people said she was a genius. Some people said she was insane. But those losers only think about the winners. Winners only think about the game. She wouldn't suffer any fools. She danced the hero rhythm. She wasn't playing by the rules. She was playing with them. Billy knew just when the dust was settled, when it's time to put the pencil down, when the harmony is only just a shadow of the way it felt the first 100 times around, which left it to the critics and the experts to tell the world how Millie really felt. To somehow say she lost the competition, she was only ever having herself. Oh, somebody looked for meaning in the ashes. She just misses standing in the flame. The losers always think about the winners. The winners always think about the game. All the losers always think about the winners. The winners always think about the game. It's the most aggressive symptom of this collective vanity. And the more that you ignore it, the more it makes you feel insane. Just look around. It's the battle of the passwords. It's the trumpets on the hill. It's the constant paranoia. It's the final fire drill. And if you won't sing the anthem, they'll go find someone else who will. They're cracking down. We're living in the future, so shine a little light. It may not make it any better. I'm just hoping that it might. I'm not talking about forever. I'm just getting through the night. We're living in the future, so shine a little light. I'm always looking over shoulders, not knowing what I'm looking for. Now that the feeling someone's watching isn't just a feeling anymore. Now that both sides of the aisle are this good at keeping score, we've crossed the line. But there's a madness to the method. There's a market for the fear. It's a dance along the razor's edge. It's a wolf held by the ears. It's the man behind the curtain. It's the way of all frontiers since the dawn of time. We're living in the future, so shine a little light. May not make it any better. I'm just hoping that it might. I'm not talking about forever. I'm just getting through the night. We're living in the future, so shine a little light. We're living in the future, so shine a little light. It may not make it any better. I'm just hoping that it might. I'm not talking about forever. I'm just getting through the night. We're living in the future, so shine a little light. Good evening, everybody. It's good to be with you. One, two, three, four. Everyone that greeted me was moving slow and drinking fast. I was lost inside a painting on the wall. A pretty lady with a cigarette was looking for a place to ash. Just stumbling toward the voices down the hall. They had Thriller on the stereo, not the album, just a song. Put two dances on in white that no one really knew. Jackets, there was a haircut, reading bones. There was a line outside the bathroom that didn't really move. When the tequila runs out, we'll be drinking champagne. When the tequila runs out, we'll be drinking champagne. When the tequila runs out, we'll be drinking champagne. When the tequila runs out. Forgot their bathing suits, but still felt like jumping in that pool. Right after making sure those underwater lights turn on, I was staring at a silhouette. I was blushing like a fool, letting everyone pretend they had it planned all along. Then a host walked out of his bedroom with his glasses slightly bent. Gets up on the diving board and tell us how he feels. Ladies and gentlemen, we've begun the initial descent. So now it's time to put up on the wheel. With the tequila on top, we'll be drinking champagne. With the tequila on top, we'll be drinking champagne. With the tequila on top, we'll be drinking champagne. With the tequila on top. On the floor of the living room, I saw my past life passed out, laying next to the handsome new flame. I didn't recognize his face too much, except for that grimace on his mouth. That part looked a bit like me. He seemed to be in pain. Then I heard that picture window break. Then I saw that rising sun. Then I felt the morning breeze. Then I heard her tired voice speak up and say, I think this party's done. She asked if I could drive her home. Then she added, please, let the tequila down. Let me drink champagne. With the tequila on top, we'll be drinking champagne. So we left the opener band at home for this one, so we got y'all to ourselves for a good long time tonight. We got a lot of ground to cover. And this is that, the 5th show, 5 in a row. So you guys got yourselves like a tired band, but also like a well-worn, well-rehearsed, well-oiled, kind of ready band. Weathered. I don't know the right word, but all right. Proven, that's the word I was looking for. I was getting up for obscurity, excited most specifically about knowing you'd soon reach for me and I'd be gone. You always took me to another place, part childhood and part outer space, but the naked truth of our face-to-face is just not what I want. Love was supposed to help me find myself, not just put me through this private hell. It just gets worse each time I tell you what feels wrong. Just a glimpse of what's achievable, sympathy unspeakable, has left me a bit unreachable for way too long. Start to atrophy, so you can't get to the heart of me. Let's just walk away. 'Cause even when your body gets that close to mine, we're still strangers sometimes. We're still strangers sometimes. I could tell I was the center of the universe, the favorite stepchild of our Mother Earth, and every camera's dream. Till something broke the spell, and the cold hard facts I was hiding from were at the mercy of a pendulum. I was smashed to smithereens. Let's try and have some fun tonight. Let's act like we got nowhere else to be. Like we're just as young as we used to be. And it goes for everyone, but me especially. Documents and names, and I twitch away from what they really mean. In the shadow world of the in-between that surrounds us on all sides, you could look the other way. In fact, that's all I did until recently. Till the expiration of my amnesty left me nowhere else to hide. Let's try and have some fun tonight. Let's act like it could always be this good. Like we're just as young as we used to be. And it goes for everyone, me especially. A flat-running learning curve on the last leg with no reserves. A desperado that lost his nerve, trying now to serve. Teach me how to serve, because we're not as young as we used to be. And it goes for everyone, me especially. Why am I still the youngest guy my age? Why am I still reading the same page? Everyone's for everyone, but me especially, and you You were right on time. Right on time. And I love you.
How we all feeling so far? You in this thing with us?
She thinks most people better lucky they are. Most people don't know what it takes for me to get it. Most people talk enough about the love in their heart. She thinks we know that most people feel that same way. with that mic strapped to his face. He talked about which habits to surrender and which habits to embrace. And for the next few days or so, I was feeling pretty good. It didn't fix me. I even started volunteering with the local Sacred Heart. We feed the homeless on some weekends. We pick up trash at all the parks. Along with cleaning up the whole damn neighborhood. Didn't fix me. Didn't fix me like I thought it I got that book you recommended about a spy in East Berlin. I really like the way it ended, how he forgives his friends who turned him in. But I think I see what you were saying about how technically it should, but it didn't fix me. It didn't fix me like I thought it would. Didn't fix me. Didn't fix me. I finally got a nomination for one of those awards that I don't need. But I say that out of obligation. I really spent hours on my speech. I think my biggest inspirations and the good folks back in Hollywood. It didn't fix me. It didn't fix me like I thought it would. Didn't fix me. Didn't fix To her I will be true. She sees the ways in which I'm ugly, loves me for those reasons too. And even though I'm feeling stronger than I ever thought I could, it still didn't fix me. fix me. Didn't fix me like I thought it would. Didn't fix me. Didn't fix
This is going good. This is feeling really good. You guys are giving the right kind of energy for a Sunday night here in Princeton, New Jersey. I feel like we're on the same page. We're getting to the bottom of something.
And it's back against the San Francisco traffic. On the bridge's side that faces towards the jail. Setting out to join the demographic. He hoists his first leg up over the rail. And phone calls made and police cars show up quickly. And the sergeant slams his passenger door. And he says, hey kid, why don't you talk through this with me? Just tell me what you're doing it for. 'Cause it's a little bit of everything. It's the mountains, it's the fog. It's the news at 6 o'clock. It's the death of my first dog. It's the angels up above me. It's the song that they don't sing. It's a little bit of everything. There's an older man who stands in the buffet line. He is smiling and he's holding out his plate. And the further that he looks back into his timeline, the hard road always led him to today. He's making up for when his bright future just left them. He's bit of everything. For her wedding that she has scheduled in the fall. Her man walks in and says, "Baby, could I just make one quick observation? You don't seem to be having any fun at all." She says, "Well, you could just worry about your groomsmen and your shirt size, and rest assured making me feel good. I think that love is so much easier than we realize. If you can give yourself to someone, then you should. 'Cause it's a little bit of everything. The way you laugh, the way you wake. It's getting up way before you, so I could just watch you as you so on the day in late September, it's not just some stupid fucking ring. I'll be getting a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everything. It's the matador and the bull. It's the suggested daily dosage. It's the red moon when it's full. All these psychics and these doctors, they're all right and they're all wrong. It's like trying to make out every word when they should simply hum along. It's not some message written in the dark, or some truth no one sees. It's just a little bit of everything. Song for you right now. We're gonna take a little break and come do it again with another batch of songs. Send all your critics there. You seem willing and able, and used to get in your way, but you're still waiting tables. Someone else's coffee. A living God, if it rallies up the troops, you can reinstate the firing squad.
Lace up your combat boots. You seem willing and able. And your stupid beret. But you're still waiting tables at someone else's cafe. Make some face paint out of baby blood. Wear a necklace made of teeth. You could be living a fable in your one-man parade, but you're still waiting tables in someone else's cafe.
To someone have a song to sing, or a joke that they could share. Let's enjoy each other's company on the brink of our despair. Does someone have a song to sing, or a joke that they can share? I want to say it's the first time we've ever played in Princeton, but sometimes I get in trouble for saying stuff like that because it might not be true, but I'm pretty sure we've never been here before. So I'd say this is a hell of a first spot. A hell of a first crowd in the town. When the wind is with me, but somehow out of sight, not knowing where it comes from or where it goes. That's the way your memory shapes the middle of my nights since the last time I saw you and the words you chose. When I said this must be what love is like, I saw it in a dream. You looked into my eyes and said you don't know what you mean. Love is for the fisherman who cast his nets too far upstream, fishing for the moon in the water. So I act now as if I forgot my efforts all in vain. I spent some time with a new girl who made the simple world seem fine. But like a rose placed in a flower pot, her true nature contained, not knowing what she asks for or what she'll find. When she says if I've ever had love in my life, then surely this is it. I said anyone who talks like that doesn't understand one bit. That love is for the fighter, born to So I left her with her dreams, where I thought that she belonged, not with my secrets, which she heard but never knew. I hoped my loneliness found peace, I hoped my number had been drawn, when all I wanted from her was to remind me of you. So I stay out in the streets, hoping to find you anywhere, now that I understand the woman you need to be. I can feel you in the heat, I can taste you in the air, and I can't help but find your face in everything I see. And once I can admit you're gone, I'll place it on a star and wait for the day I am what you need, then reach out for your heart. 'Cause even if love is more my mistress than my lovers ever are, you'll always be the moon in the water. You will always be the moon in the water. You'll always be the moon in the water. There were moments of dreams I was often to say I lived less like a workhorse, more like a slave. I thought that one took more that was noble or brave would be worth the most of my life. So I pointed my fingers, shouted few quotes I knew, as if something that's written should be taken as true. But every path that I've taken, or conclusion I drew, will protrude back under the night. And now the only piece of advice that continues to help is anyone that's making anything new only breaks something else. When my time comes, when my time so I took what I wanted, put it out of my reach. I wanted to pay for my successes with all of my defeats. And if heaven was all that was promised to me, why don't I pray for death? 'Cause now it seems like the unraveling has started too soon, and I'm sleeping in hallways, drinking perfume, speaking of heroes, howling at moons, while the worse and worse that it gets. Oh, you can judge the whole world on the sparkle that you think it lasts. You could stare into the abyss, but it's staring right back. When my time comes, can judge the whole world on the sparkle that you think it lacks. You can stare into the abyss, but it's staring right back. You guys gotten around to listening to Oh Brother yet? This is a song from there about a whole bunch of friends getting a lot older. Once the gatekeepers decided we would fade to the crowd, you took what makes you charming and you turned it up too loud. Now how many songs does the band have to get through before you steal away the mic? How many cakes do you have to jump out of before no one yells surprise? I remember us both learning that no one's dreams come true. They're either not quite how you saw them, or the goalposts just get smooth. That's when you change your expectations and started rolling your third eye. But you still don't know the ending, you can't spoil the surprise. Now the nature of your birthday party's changed a lot for me. What was once a celebration feels like a shameless victory. I guess we all confuse our happiness with what it takes to just survive. And the moment that the switch gets flipped is always a surprise. Now there's a little bit of poetry in what you're doing to your face. Removing all the evidence of our shared time and space. But your eyes close when you smile now, because you're squeezing it too tight. If this is how you double down, you're in for a surprise. Deep in Hollywood for each night of the week. watching all my fake friends congregate where no one wants to be. But you have to muddle through it if you want to make it out alive. But the ones that find the other side are in for a surprise. Now I'm not letting myself off easy here. I've been going through it too. I might have leaned into things more gracefully, but what good did that do? You found your way to rage against the dying of the light. I thought I planned for all contingencies. I thought I knew who I was meant to be. All these roads laid out in front of me, but it's still a big surprise. While it's just the two of us on stage, I do want to say how it's been a pretty crazy few months for us. And one thing we weren't expecting, after all the chaos and carnage took place, was just how loving and supportive and available our Dawes family became. I just saw everybody reaching out and looking out for us. And it just really meant more to us than it was something that I just never could have anticipated. It made me realize that this relationship goes way beyond just some songs and some shows. And we really care about each other. You guys really care about us. And it means the world to us. It was a reminder that everything was going to be okay. So just want to say thank you for that. Now here's a song that means a whole lot of different things now. These days my friends don't seem to know me without my suitcase in my hand. And when I'm standing still, I seem to disappear. But maybe that's how I found you. Maybe that taught me exactly what I want. Maybe meeting you this far away from home is what makes it all so clear. But you got that special kind of sadness. You got that tragic set of charms that only comes from time spent in love. me wanna wrap you in my arms. When people ask me where I come from, to see what it says about a man, I only end up giving bad directions that never lead me there at all. It's something written in the headlines, it's something swimming in my dreams. And if I were the moon, it would be exactly where I'd fall. You got that special kind of sadness, you got that tragic set of charms, and all that comes from time spent in Los Angeles makes me wanna wrap you in my arms. I used to think someone would love me for all these places that I've been, and the dirt that I've been gathering deep beneath my nails. But now I know what I've been missing, and I'm going home to make it mine. And I'll be battening the hatches and pulling in the sails. 'Cause you got that special kind of sadness, you got that tragic set of charms, and all that comes from time spent in Los Angeles makes me wanna wrap you in my arms. You got that special kind of sadness, you got that tragic set of charms, and all that comes from time spent in Los Angeles makes me wanna wrap you in my arms.
Get the guys back up here.
tricked into saying that I knew how I felt. As if you give something of value just by naming it. I'd be a hell of a contender if I knew what I'd sell. At the end of everything relevant, it's only empty my lungs, it's all the last one said. Burning everything natural and decadent, I inhaled it all and didn't know where I went. Still, or break everything it had. Find free will in the drawing of a bag. Kill the chills and everything you can. Still, you're the picture of a man. You're the picture of a man. You're the picture of a man. Oh, man, you're the picture of a man. Oh, man, you're the picture of a man.
Have any of you guys joined us in these last 5 days? All right. Is anybody here in a Dawes show for the first time in their lives? Wow, right on. Well, you guys came out on a Sunday. It's just not easy anymore. It's Sunday, right? I heard some giggles, sometimes I'm wrong. You kind of forget days of the week once you get on the bus. But yeah, it's Sunday. And it takes a lot to get out, to go to a show, to stay out late before early Monday morning. So it's not lost on us what it takes for you to be here. And it's deeply appreciated. The sacrifices and the plans made and the investment made. So this song is for people like you who know how to live. It's called House Parties. 1, 2, 3, 4.
House parties
this next song, I think in 2017 or maybe late 2016. It's kind of about how all of a sudden we forgot how to talk to each other, how to remember that we're all just trying to look out for our own families and each other, and just, we all have very, very different ways of getting to that, but sometimes we just start shouting each other down and forget that we all are just coming from a place of love. It's hard to even say that out loud and still believe in it, but I'm choosing to right now. The song is unfortunately just as appropriate as if I wrote it yesterday, unfortunately. The song's called Crack the Case. I will do your interview, try to explain what I'm going through, give you something to read into in a million different ways. A sick version of telephone starts at the tip of a microphone. A game we thought we had all outgrown, but still everybody plays. Ignoring all of the remedies, believing all of the rumors, with their endless database. I wanna sit with my enemies and say we should have done this sooner, while I look them in the face. Maybe that will crack the case. I got a friend who's been thinking about finally kicking her husband out. His secret life as a talent scout finally got him caught. While she was throwing out all his clothes, she heard a voice from beyond the throat. Punish him for the life he chose, but forgive the past that he did not. It's really hard to hate anyone when you know what they've lived through. And once they've given you a taste, she said, this is for you to overcome, but I will always love you. In her perfect state of grace. Now maybe that could crack the case. I'll answer open and honestly, whatever that means. Finding out that we occupy somebody else's opposing side, on the banks of some great divide, two versions of a dream, countless revisions of history, trying to tell us the future. I wanna call off the cavalry to plan a world of losers.
States. You can pick the time and place. Maybe that would crack the case. I could go on talking, or I could stop. Bring out each memory till I get it dry. Sift through the details of the others involved. The true crime would be thinking it's just one person's fault. Like an honest signature on a fake ID. Like the guilty conscience in the innocent me. You could just ignore it, put it out of mind. But ain't it funny how the past won't ever let something lie. Let's make your list of all the things the world has put you through. Let's raise the glass to all the people you're not speaking to. I don't know what else you wanted me to say to you. Things happen, that's all they ever do. In a different time, on a higher floor, I ain't right for the laws of who I'm just not anymore. So I'm driving on Tolman for a good look back and a few revisions to my plan of attack. Let's make a list of all the things the world has put you through. Let's raise a glass to all the people you're not speaking to. Let's make a list of all the things the world has put you through. Let's raise a glass to all the people that you're not speaking to. I don't know what else you wanted me to say to you. Think heaven is all I ever do. You qualify the spirit guides me listen to. Explain why your arms compel the wrongs you baby choose. I don't know what else you wanted me to say to you. Things happen, it's all they ever do. It's all they ever do. It's all they ever do. It's all I think these walls have a message or have changed. Which it is I can't decide. So I leave with the writer that remains and let him tell me what his better days were like. And I sit with the memory of kings with only words to criticize. As if I finally found the antidote for pain without knowing what it's really like. And as our actor ends his love song, all these lovers sit and stare. If I don't find peace in the valley, that's because there wasn't any there. I will move somewhere the ocean's never seen, somewhere weeds just make their claims, where my best friends exist only on screen, where my love all fits in frames. But I want fire tumbling out into the night. I want you to know how you hold me close. Pull the cord from my ear, say it's right. I need magic for the Holy Ghost. And as I drive on through these canyons, I'm still free.
all so much. It's a pleasure being with you tonight. We got one more and then we're getting out of here. Thanks for doing this with us.
Late night drives and hot French fries with friends around the country, from Charlottesville to good old Santa Fe. When I think of you, you still got all that had the senseless party. I hope that thing is never thrown away. I hope that life without a chaperone is what you thought it'd be. I hope the brothers help and meet on runs forever. I hope the world sees the same person that you always were to me. And may all your favorite bands stay together. I'm just waking up and I'm not thinking clearly, so don't quote me. With one eye open, I'm writing you this song. Ain't it funny how some people pop into your head so easily? 'Cause I haven't seen you in there for so long. I hope that life without a chaperone is what you thought it'd be. I hope your brothers help and meet on runs forever. I hope the world sees the same person that you always were to me. And may all your favorite bands stay together. I hope that life without a chaperone is what you thought it'd be. Hope your brothers help and meet on runs forever. I hope the world sees the same person that you always were to me. And may all your favorite bands stay together. May all your favorite bands stay together.
We'll see you down the road.